First, though, after a rare cancerous brain tumour made him reassess his life, Premiership footballer Dominic Matteo decided to go in search of his birth mother.
Well, given up for adoption as a baby, Dominic knew he had to try and find his mother before it was too late. So he contacted ITV's long-lost family for help. Oh.
Wow. Well, we are pleased to say that this story has a very happy ending. Not only is Dominic currently having clear scans, he's also been reunited with his birth mum. And Dominic and his wife Jessica join us now, along with mum Margaret.
Oh,
welcome all three of you. Lovely to see you. So, Margaret, we're just going to do the sort of health stuff first.
Yeah.
And thank goodness that you're OK, clear scans, that's great. So this was, you were, obviously, as we saw then, and fans will know how successful a footballer you were, but you were commentating in 2019 on a match, and life changed when you came off air. And how did you feel? What happened?
Yeah, just a bit of a headache. My eyesight was a little bit blurred, which is very unusual for me, because usually I'm on it, if you know what I mean. You know, it's like working in that world. It's stressful at times, but I think, yeah, it just felt like as the day was going on and the weeks were going on, things were just going downhill a little bit, but being me, I just kept going, kept working and kept getting on with stuff.
And you did keep going, and you were due to fly out to Singapore, I think it was, to play in this Liverpool Legends match out there, and you got a phone call from the hospital saying, there's been a cancellation, there's a scan available, do you want it? And you did, you went. Yeah. You cancelled everything and you went, and thank God you did.
Yeah, you're right, that is, someone was looking out for me there, definitely. And, yeah, we went and had the scan, and obviously that's when I found out, obviously, it was a massive mass that they found in my brain. Yeah. Which obviously so unexpected, and I just went downhill from that moment so quickly, which is the scary thing.
In 48 hours?
Yeah, I was blind, basically. I was blind.
So if you had got on that plane, if you hadn't taken that chance-free scan, then the outcome would have been very, very different.
It would have been, yeah, and like you say, I'm just so thankful for the, for the help I've had, NHS, the doctors, everyone, everyone did the bit there. And obviously to get a scan last minute like that was life-saving for me, life-changing for me and all the family and the wife and the kids, everything. If I'd been on that flight, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. So for me, I'm just very, very thankful that happened.
Well, and just for you as a family, sort of the shock of this all happening in the first place, and then suddenly that downward spiral in 48 hours in hospital, spending a long time in intensive care, the incredible support and job that the doctors and nurses did there, keeping him going, keeping him alive, which continues, actually, doesn't it? Because afterwards there's a lot of aftercare.
Yeah, to this day, we've still got a massive support network around Dominic, pushing him on, keeping him going. Yeah. And like I say, we can't be any more thankful to the NHS. They've just been beyond wonderful.
And the other patients must have been quite surprised when other footballers were turning up.
Well, yeah. Very, very quickly, the football world became very small. Yeah. And they really wanted to show their support to him, so much so that they were turning up on the on the ward, and all the nurses were like, "Oh, who's this?" It was great.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I guess when you go through something like that, you realise life is short and moments are precious, and you've been working with a life coach to kind of keep your positivity levels as high as they possibly could be. And what was becoming very clear and very apparent to you was you were brought up, had wonderful adoptive parents, very, very happy, brilliant. You couldn't wish for a more better family life. However, there was questions about your birth mum.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was kind of... My mum and dad always told me. I think I got to about 8 or 9 and I started asking a couple of questions and they were telling me stuff all the way. Never hid anything from me. No. They're that kind of people. They're so open, so lovely. They did an amazing job. And they just... It got to the point where I wanted to know. And obviously, when you have something like I have, it was important to find out everything. And that's why we went and did the search. And obviously, a huge thank you to Long Lost Family for making it happen, because they were incredible.
Yeah. So here's Mum, who would have watched you on the telly playing without knowing that you were her son. Yeah. How does that feel?
That is surreal, that I'd actually heard of him. And, well, I've got my A-level Italian, so I always tuned into Italian names. Yeah. And Dominic Matteo stands out. So I'd seen him on TV and actually had read about the brain tumour online, not knowing.
That was the son that you...
Yeah, I did not know, and I actually read that because I Google everything. You know, so I know everything. And it was Dominic, and I couldn't believe... I didn't know when I was reading it, though.
So what's your story then? How come that you gave him up for adoption?
Well, I was at school. I was very young, and I didn't have a job, you know. So I realised that this was the best thing, and on the Adoption Society told me a lot about Dominic's parents and what kind of people they were, and it was the most difficult decision of my life. It was a terrible grief, you know, having to go through that and do it. So I can't.
Okay.
But yeah, but it's turned out
so well.
Lovely.
I think it's really important to say here that it was a different time back then, wasn't it? And people viewed girls, you were a girl, 17 when you fell pregnant, you know, people treated it, was seen, there was a real stigma attached around it. And what you must have gone through and then continued to go through, questions you must have had, what happened to that little boy, you know, not knowing that here he was, wanting to find you also. So when you got that call from Logsdale family to say, your son is trying to find you, how did that moment feel?
Wow, it was great news. It was absolutely fantastic, because I'd thought about trying to trace him, but I didn't want to intrude, you know, and I would like to say I totally admire Dominic's parents for, you know, everything they have done. They're amazing people, and so is Dominic, so yeah.
There's a box of tissues just behind you. So I don't know if you want to take one out there. Would you like to pass it down?
You might need to.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the first meeting, here you go. Davina tells you the news. We found your mum. She's OK. She'd like to see you. Yeah. What was that like?
It's kind of like, I get goosebumps talking about this kind of stuff now, because I never used to be that emotional, but I am now. I'm actually emotional wreck, but it's just so lovely, because that feeling, and obviously for Maggie Mum, as we call her, it's like, it's more for her as well, you know, because she's gone and, you know, she didn't know, well, obviously, she didn't know anything about me, because obviously when you give somebody up, you give them up, don't you?
Yeah.
So that was the tough thing. She's had to live with that. So it's just so nice now we can make it right.
When you were playing, did you used to think, I wonder if my birth mum's watching, and not realising it's me?
I did.
Did you?
I did all the time, yeah.
I had a little bit of an inkling, yeah. I've thought about it. It's one of those things you can't really get away from, can you? Even though I know that Margaret knows I had an amazing upbringing with my mum and dad. So I always protected them as well. And I think that's the thing when this happened, you've still got to protect, you know, my mum and dad as well.
You feel like it's a balancing act.
It's a balancing thing, yeah. And it was just, it's been an amazing emotional roller coaster, but I'm so glad we've done it. And it's so glad, look, you can see now it's, everyone's happy. And, you know, we've not had much happiness over the last year and a half. So it's nice to have this kind of, you know, this way now where we stick together now as a family. What
was it like when he walked in for the first time?
When Dominic walked in, oh my goodness.
That was the same face.
yeah, he just looked exactly what I imagined him to look like, which is incredible. But I always knew he would do well. There was something, when I said my goodbyes, I thought, you're going to do well. I'll be willing you to do well. And he has. I'm so proud.
Yeah, I bet you are. And obviously, it's not just him. There's the whole family that come with it as well. There's a few more Christmas cards to buy, that's for sure.
Yeah, birthday presents.
Yeah.
And you've rung the bell.
Yes.
In fact, you didn't want to ring the bell. I think you persuaded him to ring the bell.
Oh, the whole ward persuaded him to. He was forced into ringing that bell. He wanted to slip out quietly, but they weren't having it. The nurses were like, Dominic, get up there.
Get up there and ring that bell.
Ring that bell.
It's an amazing story, and we're so glad you came in today.
Yeah.
Stay well.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much indeed. It's
Lovely
lovely to meet you as well. Margaret, thank you very much. And Long Lost Family is tonight at 9 on ITV.
Get the tissues.
Thank you.